Peace, family. Peace. As you can see from the title, I mean this, and I'm not joking. But we're going to start from the beginning as to why I think this. I can explain. Chill out. Grab a seat. Grab a coffee. Grab a drink. And let's have a talk. So, in the beginning there was God. That's what we're told. In the beginning there was God. And God decided, with all his infinite wisdom, to create something other than himself, because it was just him in existence. Now, my first question will become, why? Why would an all infinite knowing entity need or want or desire to create something other than himself? Is he not enough for himself? That would be my first question. I've heard some people say the reason why God created something other than himself is because he is a creator by nature. So then my question will become, so God is bound by his nature? Because if it's in your nature to create, then you are not all-powerful. The thing that has power over you would be your nature. If it's in my nature to kill, then I'm bound by my nature. I'm just going to constantly kill because what has power over me is my nature to kill. So how does God's nature now have power over him to create? But I digress. Let's continue. So in the beginning there was God, and this God decided to create something other than himself. So he got to creating the stars, the moon, the planets, the galaxies, the Milky Ways, etc., etc. And then he had a great idea. He said, I am going to create Earth. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create humankind. So he creates Adam and Eve. In the Judeo-Christian texts, it's Adam and Eve. In the Islamic texts, it's Adam and Hawa. So, God is all-knowing. What does all-knowing mean? All-knowing means you have all knowledge. Knowledge of the past, the present, and the future. So, Mr. God, did you know when you created Adam and Eve that Adam and Eve were going to eat the fruit? Well, of course he did. Because he's all-knowing. Remember? In the Islamic narrative, it was Iblis who coerced, these two individuals and did not want to bow to Adam. I'm sorry, God, did you know this would happen? Of course he did. You know when God knew this would happen? When he was all alone. In the beginning there was God. And at that beginning, he was still all knowledgeable. He still had foresight. So even before he created his creation, God knew exactly what would happen to the creation. God knew exactly how many of his creation were going to go to hell. He knows exactly how many are going to go to heaven. It's all God's plan. As Drake says, it's God's plan. So God's plan, before he even put his plan into motion, was that so-and-so people are going to go to hell, so-and-so people are going to go to heaven. Right? But you told people they have free will. People always say, you have free will. Well, if I'm going to hell, because it's already pre-planned, then how do I have free will? Because if there are 3 billion people going to heaven and 3 billion people going to hell, and I'm one of those people before God even created the creation that we're going to go to hell, how do I stop that from happening? I can't stop that from happening. It's just God's plan. So free will seems to be an illusion in the religious narrative. However, they tell you that you have free will every single time you speak about something happening. They say, oh no, but you've got free will. You've got free will. Nothing I can do, if this God exists, which I don't believe he does, will stop God's plan. Nothing I do. If from the beginning when God was alone, he said Sarah Garvey is going to go to heaven, then that's just what's going to happen. He knows before I'm even born whether or not I'm going to make it there. And he knows exactly the path I'm going to do to make it there. The path I'm going to take to make it there. So, I just slapped myself on the face. Now, was that my will or was that God's will? Was that part of the plan? Or was that me thinking that that was my will and really it was already pre-planned by Mr. God? But let's go back. God creates Adam and Eve knowing that they would eat the fruit. God creates the devil knowing the devil would disobey. And then God gets angry. God gets angry at the thing he already knew was going to happen. Hang on a minute. You knew it was going to happen, but you're still upset. Does that even make sense? From before you even created this creation, you knew what was going to happen. So why are you upset at it happening? I don't get it. You knew before they even knew it was going to happen. God knew the devil was going to disobey him before the devil knew he was going to disobey him. But he's still upset. So what it seems like to me is God is playing a really odd game. Bit of an arsehole. And I stand by this. God's an arsehole. Because he created everything, knowing it was going to go crazy, and then gets angry at you for not turning to him and praying to him, and sends you to hell, even though from the beginning, he was going to send you to hell anyway. He was going to send you there anyway. He knew you weren't going to turn to him, because that was part of God's plan. God's plan. While we shake our asses to that tune, not realizing that it's actually a nonsense. But anyway, so this all-knowing God plans all of this out, tells you that you have free will, even though you don't. You're just going by his will. And then punishes you because he feels like it. So let's go to the flood. So the flood happens, God regrets making man. And then he kills all the people, women, children, babies, all this kind of stuff. And says, we're gonna start again. We're gonna start again with these 8 folks that come off this ark. Noah, Noah's wife, his 3 sons, Ham, Shem, Japheth, and their 3 wives. 8 people. 8 people, folks. Restart this whole shindig. 8 people restart this whole world. And then the madness continues to happen. Wars, pestilence, rumors of wars, all this kind of stuff, which God planned from the beginning. While human beings suffer, child molestation, rapes, tortures, God's just like, yeah, Part of the plan. Don't worry about it. I got it. It's part of the plan. Don't worry about the human beings, being hurt and stuff. It's part of the plan. Now, I've heard somebody say to me before, when we go back to the beginning, yeah? And I asked, why did God create? They say, well, I've heard somebody said, he wanted to be known. He wanted to be known. So let's go back to the beginning. In the beginning, there was God. And God wanted to be known. So he looks left. He looks right. And there's no one but him. And he wants to be known by something. But there's not something. My question to you, God, is, are you all-knowing? Yes. So why the hell do you want something else to know you when you already know yourself? Not unless you don't know yourself. Could it be that God does not know himself, so he needed something else to know him? People say God wanted the creation to worship him, which shows that he still has a desire to be worshipped. So this God is not enough for himself. He seems a little bit insecure. It's a little bit insecure. He needs to be worshipped. He needs to be known, but he's so powerful. He's so powerful that he doesn't need anything. But he needs to be known. He needs to be worshipped. And he wants to be worshipped. But I'm all powerful though. Well, excuse me, but an all-powerful entity shouldn't want, need, desire, or require anything. If you're truly all-powerful, you're enough. That's it. Done. Dusted. You should be just existing until it's for eternity. You should just be an existent entity until eternity. For the whole of eternity. Forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Because you're enough for yourself. Because you're not bound by anything. You're not even bound by your own nature. You just exist. But this God's an asshole. So he decides to create nonsense. And then blame you for it, as a matter of fact. He blames Adam. He blames Adam for eating the fruit, even though he knew Adam was going to eat the fruit from the beginning, but created Adam basically to eat the fruit. But it's Adam's fault. Not God's fault. It's Adam's fault. It's Eve's fault. It's everyone else's fault, except for the actual guy who planned it all. Everyone else's fault, except for the asshole who planned it. People have been bamboozled by this story for a very, very long time. And I really do think, people, it's time to start waking up. The story is flawed. The story is a nonsense, okay? And if people are still out there believing, going to church, going to mosque, going to synagogue, believe in this nonsense, then I'd question your sanity, okay? Because it seems like all it takes for someone to be not classed as crazy is numbers. One man believe in this nonsense, he's a crazy man. 1 billion people believe in this nonsense, you're no longer a crazy people. You're a religion. And we can give you money, and you can take money from people, and we can legalize what you're doing. So just numbers. So tomorrow, the crazy man who's crazy, don't worry, he won't be crazy for long unless he gathers the numbers. As long as he gathers the numbers, he will not be crazy anymore. Okay, so I want all of my religious folks to send a message to this God next time in your prayers for me. Tell him, Sarah Garvey said, he's an asshole. Peace, family. Peace.